What's poppin'? So you know I'm your host, Jay from Wolfpack Performance, Former Star Podcast, and home of the F1 Minute, the hottest fucking live talk show on the planet for Formula One content that involves you in the content creation. But today, I got with me like another superhero, Tasha, from the Saturday Quick Stop show, and you already know about that. But yeah, I call her superhero shit. Don't get it twisted.
Thank you, Jay.
Oh, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. I love what you do. I love how you pop tall on the show. Definitely.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you ain't even got to say thank you. I appreciate you coming. So how you feeling today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Woke up rested, fresh as a daisy. Like,
You look it.
You know?
You know what I'm talking about?
Can't complain. What
You
about
had
you?
to kick nobody ass today or nothing like that?
No,
Okay.
not today.
All right, not
It is
today.
the weekend and it's still early, so you know.
That's true. So it's still some time.
It's still
Not saying you want to, but if you got to, it's still some time left in the day to kick ass.
You know what I'm saying? It's,
Okay.
you know, it's never too late for a little ass whooping.
Would you feel like kicking some ass if you was in Susie's place right now?
Oh, yeah.
You would?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Actually, let me just tell you, for me, like this whole situation that's happened this week, it has been so refreshing, like her statements, both of them, to like lay out on the line, like exactly what's happening, calling it misogyny, calling it like, intimidation tactics. Like her last statement that she made was so refreshing for girls like me who have to get our emails checked. Like I have to ask people, like, does this come across a certain way before I send it? Because, you know, sometimes people will take stuff the wrong way when you're trying to just be like assertive. But the fact that she started a statement with like, after all the shit that's happened this week,
Right.
my first thought was, is that it? And the fact that, you know, no one's apologized, no one's reached out to her. So yeah, I feel a kinship with people like Susie because I'm just like, it's the fact that people tried to play in her face and she wasn't letting it happen. So
let me, is
relatable.
there any potential situation where we might be in a Eddie, Brock, and Annie situation? If you're familiar with that. You watched Venom before?
Eddie Brock. No.
Okay, so in Venom, Eddie, who inevitably becomes Venom, or the parasite to Venom, or the vice versa.
Yeah.
Eddie's getting ready to interview Drake, of the Riot Foundation, where they do all this real illegitimate shit. Drake's not a good guy to begin with, but Annie's firm represents Drake. So what Eddie does is he goes in her private laptop to find out some information on that is private and confidential, and uses it against Drake in the interview, and they find out it's Annie, she gets fired.
Wow.
So what if there was a potential situation like that? How would you feel then? Because still she's still a casualty to the situation.
Right.
But how would you feel then? What if,
I guess to answer your question, like I feel like if it happened and there was an investigation and it found that, there was some sort of information flowing between the two of them, like I still would feel like she has the right to stand up for herself in this situation, because
Facts.
the way that it's handled publicly has been, I think, the layer that was unnecessary. Like if you're going to investigate them for something, behind the scenes, that's one thing.
Right.
But to make it public and to make it seem like, oh, these claims were legitimate from this one source, this one article, and then all of a sudden we got to jump on this and investigate and add legitimacy to these claims. I think that's really what the reaction stems from. But definitely, in the background of F1, I don't see how no one can say that they're not, feeding each other information. So it's sort of like, that's the other thing for me, where I was like, unless Susie and Toto are like doing some egregious stuff behind the scenes that it goes beyond what we see on like just the surface level from everyday F1 activities, like then it just seems weird that you're singling them out, because there's countless examples of conflicts of interest within Formula One. So.
Right. That's how I feel too. I feel like maybe let's just say some pillow talk happened. Couples have pillow talk, and then pillow talk, you talk about your job, you talk about certain situations. That's the flow of information. But there's levels to confidentiality. Period. If something's confidential, you shouldn't talk about it. But let's not do the bullshit here. We know on golf courses, we know in these boardrooms, we know when these men get together, they're talking. And likely they're talking about information that happened in one meeting that has nothing to do with the other meeting, and they talk about this, and that's the flow of information. What I don't like is it almost has the stench of a witch hunt. How in very prehistoric times, in my opinion, women were very disrespected because they just stood up on their own. or they were independent, or they had something to say. And I think them just mentioning the fact that Susie does have a work relationship with Stefano, due to the F1 Academy, and trying to use that as if, okay, yeah, she's using information from there to go to Toto. And my thing is, I mean, if she used some damn information, where the hell's the benefits? Because it damn sure wasn't in the 2023 season. Like, it damn sure didn't help the W14.
Like, what was she telling him?
Like, what was she telling him? It couldn't have been that egregious. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that there's levels to this shit. Like, there's nothing that I saw that could have... Yeah, you know what? That PU...
To risk your life, or not your life, to risk your career on some information and nothing come from it seems stupid.
Right.
So that's like, why are you guys playing in our face, acting like she told him something, like secrets, or like, know, the blueprint to whatever. Like, nothing was used, clearly. If any information was shared, nothing was used that benefited the W14 or the Mercedes 2023 season. So what are we talking about? Like, what does she know, and what does Toto, and what would she know? What would she be told, or what would she overhear in her role that would be of benefit to Toto or anybody? Like,
exactly. I mean, this is not a situation like McLaren, Fernando, and where they all had the situation with IP information from Ferrari, and was it used and it wasn't used, and that went to a whole thing. And I also don't like the fact if something is official, if you're saying you have a source of multiple team principals, because that's what some articles say, multiple team principals, why is there not an official correspondence between you and the team? There should have been something that went directly to them, like, hey, we got this, we're going to investigate you. Why do you come out just in the public and then they have to find out through social media, like when Fernando jumped out the window? Crazy. What kind of shit is that?
Crazy.
That is crazy.
How are you going to say we're investigating? Like, we're taking this seriously. And we're investigating, and you don't even make the people aware that you're investigating, that something of this magnitude is going to be happening. Right. That's why I'm like, for me, I'm like reading everything, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense as a legitimate reason to launch an investigation. That article came out, I think, on like December 1st or something, and it's like time. What, the 7th?
Yeah, the 9th.
Whatever. When all this started happening. So it's like within a week of one article, you were like, oh, we need to investigate, look into this. And I'm supposed to believe that nothing nefarious is happening. Like, there's no it just felt, to me, it feels like character assassination is what it feels like. It wasn't about the actual investigation. It was about painting Susie and Toto, by extension, like unsavory characters, untrustworthy, and that's it, because that's really, they didn't need to do an investigation at that point, because the public opinion now becomes, well, Mercedes cheating. Right. Susie's helping her husband cheat, and like, that's it. And so that from that alone, mission accomplished, because then a day later they're like, oh, never mind, we didn't find anything in our investigation. So you did all that, and then you investigated it for 24 hours.
That's a shot. That's a gun deck of an investigation.
Like, wow.
How much information did you go through before you decided there's nothing here?
Like,
because in a situation like that, you have to imagine that there are emails that have to be gone through, their correspondence, everything. Records. That's longer than 24 hours. That's longer than 24 hours. It takes you longer than that sometimes to make a call on track after a race is over, and you're having trouble with making these calls. So how are you going to do a whole investigation in 24 hours?
We don't even know who wins a race sometimes for 24 hours. Like,
what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? A whole investigation was open and shut. Like, come on,
24 hours, and I find it a bit. Let me ask you, let's say how far, because at this point in time, they're saying that basically Mercedes is going to move forward with defamation of character, all of this. Do you actually trust or even believe Mercedes to take that to the finish line? Because I'll tell you why I don't trust them to take it to the finish line. I feel like if you're willing to take something, and I'm not trying to downplay the situation. On Susie, it's big, because I get tired of seeing women wrongly criticized and unfairly treated in any type of situation where it's a corporation. But in the other, in just Formula One context, was 80-20-21 not a bigger situation? Did 80-20-21 not have true example and evidence of something that completely went wrong and was completely a debacle? But yet Mercedes didn't carry that ball to the end zone in that situation. So how can I trust that Mercedes will hold the FIA, and even if so, Formula One, to their fire of the? How can I trust that?
Yeah.
Do you trust
that? Yeah, in this instance, I do. only because so I think where Ben fucked up is that he kicked the hornet's nest with a white woman. Unfortunately for him,
facts.
The rallying cry has been made. So I do believe, I think really it's like a series of events. I think that is what has, I think, led me to believe that they would actually go through with this, because between AD 21 and some of the stuff I was reading this week with stuff Toto's maybe doing in the background, which is creating this like power struggle between him and Ben. So like in the background, it seems like he's still kind of working on, getting stuff rectified, which I feel like that's kind of refreshing to hear, because on the surface level, it seems like everybody's just kind of let it go and is moving on about their business. But this supposed power struggle that's happening in the background is kind of the cause for what's happening. And I think for the past 2 years, Ben has been retaliatory, like all of these rules that he kind of like imposes, because he's like, you guys want me to impose all the rules. So it's all the ones that happen to pertain to Lewis Hamilton, whether it's the jewelry, whether it's the protesting, whatever. It's, Toto and Mercedes being targeted, and then now it's Toto's wife that you're dragging in. And this is kind of open shut, like defamation, libel type stuff, and I think because this case is so sort of like clear cut, I think that's why they're gonna go for it, because at this point it's been 2 years of people lying on Toto. This is not even the first time he's been accused of being fed inside information, and having conflicts of interest. So at this point, Mercedes is involved because he represents them, and their whole brand ethos and everything kind of comes into question. Like, they're trying to win legitimately. You can't have somebody, team principal, being accused left and right of cheating and of being this like unsavory kind of character. So it does pull Mercedes, the brand, into the situation now, because you're basically saying somebody that represents us, and therefore us by extension, are cheating, and you've been accusing us of this for like 2 years. Yeah. So yeah, I do think that at this point, Ben and FIA and these like journalists who just say whatever they want to say, somebody needs to get sued, because it's not going to stop till somebody gets popped, and that's how I feel. Like, that's true. Somebody needs to get sued. And I feel like also the thing with being sued becomes, especially if they start at like the kind of the journalist, they start there. Whoever that is, whoever is funding these people, whatever, like that little money trail is going to be exposed. Because if say I wrote that article and I get a letter in the mail from Mercedes, like I'm going to be like, yo, how am I supposed to afford legal fees against Mercedes AMG F1 Petronas team? Like, y'all whatever.
Better step in.
So it's like, yeah, you start fucking with people's money, and I think people will start to kind of like, chitter chatter a little bit. And Susie did say in her statement, she was like, we're definitely going to be getting to the bottom of who started it. So they're not letting it just fly. Like, it's not just going to be like, we'll just sue and wipe it under the rug. Like, they're going to figure out where this originated from. And I think that's kind of where you're going to start to see
some other layers,
the chain start to be exposed a little bit. Because
yeah, I think so too. I find it very funny that some of these outlets or other pundits that are so like above things like this, but now report on things like this. I do find that also funny, because before they act like anybody who talks about stuff like that is, you're just not in the sport. But it's just funny today, you can see some real big channels trying to just talk about something that they can't even prove themselves. But before, it's like, that's beneath us. It's not beneath you right now, is it?
Yeah.
The off season can make you do a lot of things out here in these Formula One streets. You know what I'm saying?
Never say never out here. You never know.
So let's take a move to somebody who's gotten an early Christmas present. All right, early Christmas present. I think Logan Sargeant got one of the biggest Christmas presents that anybody's going to get. He got another opportunity to live a Formula One career. Yeah. Oh, how do you? What is your outtake on that? Because I'm on two sides. I'm on two sides of this coin. Like, I'm Harvey. I got a flip coin. I got one with a scratch face and one with a pristine face. But I want to hear what do you think about it?
I just don't understand it. Like, I look at Williams as a team, and I'm just like, yeah, the upward trajectory is, you can see it. Like, they made a lot of changes this year, even with the cost cap. They have I think the morale of the team has made them perform better.
True.
And now that they're going to be having, you know, more money and potentially, like, you know, better facilities and stuff in the future, like, I just see the trend, the upward trend for their team. You have Alex, who's put in an amazing season. He's probably one of my favorite stories from the year. I know, like, the last few races weren't the best, but I think overall, just as a team, they had, like, such a, like, you know, you can see them building. And so I feel like Logan is just kind of like that weak link. I understand the desire for James to, like, want to nurture him and, like, you know, see where this potential that he sees can grow into. And I'm just seeing, like, the amount of money that he cost them. I'm just seeing, like, the potential unrealized. Like, I haven't even seen a glimpse of it, right? Like, he's had 24 races, 6 sprint races to do something, and he has not done anything. So I'm not seeing the vision. I'm willing to trust the vision because I trust James. Okay. But I'm also like, I don't see it. And I feel like there's like a big bullshit meter that's like glaring at me. And I'm just sort of like, when will we kind of cut this off before it gets worse? Because I just don't see it getting better.
I agree with that. I do think that the damage that a driver can cause to your progress is very monumental as far as Logan's concerned. And it's not only just him. We've seen other examples of this. Mazepin, even Mick, even in reserve drive, Latifi, Crash Tiffy, got the nickname Crash Tiffy for a reason, right? And I said in the earlier part of the season, and I was joking about it at first, like right off, I said that Logan was channeling his inner Latifi for Williams. But it's just not a joke at this point in time. It's real. No, I mean, the dude wrecked up enough cars. He is the king of destruction. Like, that's what he got. Yeah. The World Destruction Championship is what Logan won. And I feel two ways about this, because I feel like sometimes, I don't want to say always, because sometimes I don't always feel like somebody should get a second chance. Right. Sometimes like, wham, bam, get your ass out of here, you know? Right. But in these situations, I feel like, okay, you could get a second chance. But I think your second chance is really determining what we could get. And I feel like Williams gave him that extra additional opportunity based on the driver market not being where it could be, where it would have been for them maybe a couple of years ago. But in that same sense, I feel like I credit James Vowles for going about this situation the way he did. I feel like he handled it well in the public. I feel like he handled it well as far as what he said about. He didn't lie to us. He told us, like, straight up, like, Logan's been informed about these deliverables that we need in order to even consider thinking about retaining him. Did he fully deliver on that? I feel like, he didn't wreck any more cars toward the end of the season. I think he got gifted that 1/10 spot based on a bunch of other bullshit happening. But he got it. And it is. But on the other flip side is, you got the other rookies that came in and out of here, like Oscar, and then you got Liam. Teams are not wrong for looking at the rookie market any different now. It's like, why should we waste 2 or 3 seasons? Like, there are some rookies that can come and deliver, like, right now. Today, yeah. Logan ain't one of them. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Exactly. So that's how I feel. Sometimes I like, it's some privilege in there. I think it's a little privilege sprinkled in there for certain, some privilege, but I do not see, I'm with you. I did not see anything in this season that gave me any hope to see anything better in 2024. I just didn't. I could be proven wrong. But I hope to be proven wrong. I mean, we don't have a choice but to watch and see, what happens. But, I feel like with, like, Nick DeVries, for example, like, I feel bad that he didn't get to finish the season. I think that was too little time to see, how his season would have played out. But I do feel like especially a year where this is the most races that they've had, until next season. But, this is the most races we've had in a season. If that's not enough time to decide, like, whether or not a driver is capable of delivering or not for the following season, like, I believe in second chances, but I believe in second chances if there's, like, some sort of glimmer. And I mean, obviously there was none of that. I can't say that there was. And so and especially, like, as an American, I think it's funny, like, seeing, Twitter reactions to Logan from, like, Europeans or non-Americans. They tend to love him, I guess. And I'm just like, as an American, I'm like, you want to know why they love him? Is this it? Tasha, you want to know why they love him? Because they love that he make us look like shit. They like, damn, them Americans can't try, bro.
This is why we don't let y'all in Formula One.
Thumbs up that.
Like, hello, yeah.
He's the perfect example for us not to let these motherfuckers in.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. Andretti's probably like, damn, God damn it, Logan.
Like, this was the guy. Like,
And then Albon really, I know they're teammates, but Albon's performance removed the excuse of the car because Albon showed them, like, your car is capable of more. And this guy is not even close to bringing it in.
Yeah.
And I felt like James was a little bit disingenuous with there's not much difference between Albon and Logan's pace.
Which is egregious because I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do we not have the same
Right. This is my
data in front of
us? Right, yeah, this shit right here says the same thing on your side, right?
I'm looking at the timesheets and I'm like,
I get different
differences. Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, I feel like that was a little, I feel, but like you said, cuddling. And that's exactly what I think. Yeah. But I don't blame him for it because if you damage somebody's belief or pride or what should I say, confidence in themselves, you can do more damage. And we have him to the end of the season. So that's why I credit James Vowles with handling it like that, because if you ruin his confidence totally, you know your shot. You're not even going to give yourself an opportunity. It's kind of like Wilson for the Jets. You're like, yo, bro, you're benched. You're a second round draft pick and you suck ass. Sit on the bench. Now this week they're like, come start for us. I straight picked up the defense off fantasy that's going against the Jets this weekend. I said, I know he's going to throw 5 picks. So I'm just trying to say.
I got to get him hyped up.
Right. So what do you feel like for Williams next season? In your eyes, your team principal, what are you coming right into the season? Like, how are you coming into the season? First meeting with the drivers, what are you going to say to Logan? What are you going to say to Albon?
I mean, that's a great question. I don't really even know what that conversation looks like from, I feel like James is such a different team principal. He does kind of lead with that like nurturing vibe. I just feel like he's going to try to, obviously encourage Alex to keep doing what he's doing, probably promise him a better car. Like, that's what I hope that they're doing. Cause obviously he has so much more potential and that car is so limiting, to drive sometimes. But I feel like as far as Logan goes, I think it's going to just be for him about learning and hopefully setting some kind of targets for him that, whether it's points, whether it's just finishing a race. I don't know. I don't know what that conversation looks like, to be quite honest, because I still am in disbelief that he's even going to be there again next season. So, but yeah, I don't know. I would hope that, like, if it's about keeping him in that seat and just making sure that he's, again, not discouraged, then it's just setting some achievable parameters, and kind of taking it race by race. And that's, I think, all you can do, because you've put him here. I mean, like, really, honestly, this falls on James for next season to, like, for him to, this is his bet that he's making. So if it works out, you look like the guy who took the right approach by nurturing this driver. If it doesn't work out, obviously everybody's going to have that
that side eye.
So, so this, I feel like it's more pressure on James, because this is you're scouting this driver. Essentially, you're putting your faith in this guy. So hopefully whatever you're saying to him behind the scenes is going to get him fired up enough that he'll actually do something.
Okay. Yeah,
whatever that is.
The meeting for me is pretty simple. For Albon, I'm with you. Like, if I was sitting there like, hey, I support Tasha, what she said, Albon, we're gonna try to get you, boss lady said we're gonna try to get you a better car. That's what we're gonna do, Albon. Tasha said better car, you did great, boom. As you're talking to Logan Sargeant, I'm sliding a vanilla folder over to him, and when he opens it up, do you know what's in it? A picture of Nick DeVries. That could be you this season. That's you this season, bro. I'm just saying. She said you in here because you in here, but Nick DeVries, just think about it. Just think about it. Not many chances there. Not at all. Every time you get in your car, I know you got a picture of the track. Next to the track's gonna be Nick DeVries, because that's where you gonna end up, bro. Like, I'm straight up serious. Nick DeVries definitely got cut short, but that was the Red Bull way. I do like how France spoke on that. He gave up. He didn't give excuses. He gave reasons to why he felt what they did with Nick was wrong, as far as the rookies having exposure and experience on the track. And he's saying, like, this is what rookies do, and to just cut him short. Like, I honestly, they bought, how much did they get when they brought Danny Rick in? They didn't get shit. Danny Rick, I mean, one top 10 finish from a veteran like Danny Rick. You really could have just rolled it out and saved yourself that money, saved yourself some time with Nick DeVries, and saw where he would have went and developed. Honestly, I think he could have got
a rush to get who was in a rush to get Danny Rick back on the track? Like, I mean, nobody. And then he came and broke his damn wrist.
Right. He came 3
that didn't even
out of there.
That didn't even work out. Like, what was even the reason?
And it further exposed him because Liam got a chance to jump in the seat and did better than him in that situation. Yeah. So I don't know what this whole Danny Rick thing is. I've lost the whole situation with them bringing him in for pressure on Perez. Because if I'm Perez, that ain't no pressure to me, bro. Like, bro, Christian, bro. Let me tell you, Perez, Danny Rick, he can have it. I'll be reserve driver.
But it's like you said, though, they've broken Checo's spirit. Like, he's when you said earlier about, building people's confidence or tearing it down, like, he came to mind immediately because, like, I feel like he's a much better driver than how he is. I mean, whatever this last season was not at all representative of, I think, like, the level he can drive at, but his confidence was like, they took that shit out back and shot it. Like, that
was good. That was good, Tasha. That was very visual. Like, shit.
They took that thing out back and was like, you think you're winning what this? No.
Don't think about it.
Sit down. Yeah, no.
Just
so I do think, like, if it's a Checo, Danny, Ricciardo, like, if I could have one or the other, I mean, I guess at this point I would want Danny's, like, confidence, because I do feel like his confidence is a bit more on the rise.
Okay.
He's back with his, like, family, and they're, like, feeding him and nurturing him, and, like, everybody's like, oh, Danny's back. You could see it.
True.
Puffing up that confidence. And I think Checo, even though I think he's probably the more consistent driver of the two, the lack of confidence, like, his qualifying just being, like, atrocious, like, appalling, barely squeaking out P2 in the driver championship against the man in the damn wheelbarrow. Like, come on. Like, what would that do to your confidence? So, in theory, Danny shouldn't be a threat, but...
Facts. I mean, Checo ain't under no threat that he ain't under already. Danny just...
Right.
You just the next guy in line, bro. Yeah. You just the next guy to have a job. But I feel that. I think Checo, I'm fully with you with everything you said about Perez. Honestly, I think Red Bull had done what they done. I don't care about the tinfoil cap. If you see it, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. The things that Christian said about Perez throughout the season, the things that Helmut Marko said against Perez throughout the season. But at some point in time, I just said, you know what, Checo, bro, if you're going to keep taking those licks to the face and just eating them and licking it like it's good, what am I supposed to do for you? Like, this dude, I mean, what am I going to do for you? You're saying it's okay. Like, I can't keep going and getting charged up and you just like, oh, it's okay. We got a good relationship. No, you don't. You don't have a good relationship.
Apologize behind the scenes. Like, nah, that's not enough. And that's why Susie's letter, like, in the context of this season, I'm like, finally, somebody calling shit out blatantly. Right. Like, and that's what I needed Checo to do multiple times this season. And I'm like, if you can't win on track, the least you can do is stand up for yourself.
Thank you.
You got this man over here disparaging you because you're Mexican. And by extension, all of Mexico. Like, come on.
You don't even know where you from. It's
like, what?
Like, he having 4 kids. How you expect a Mexican with 4 kids to worry about at Formula One driving? That's basically what he said. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's wild. And he just let that shit fly. Thank you. He just let it fly. Yeah. And then he holds up in comparison 2 European white drivers like, he can't do what Seb been like. What is this? Like, you just don't go about it. So I tell you what, let me ask you this. As we come into this fourth quarter, rank these teams in order. Like, we're going to hold you. We're going to put you on the stand. I need a 1, 2, 3, and why you would rank them as so. You are going to be ranking Ferrari, Aston Martin, and McLaren. 1, 2, 3, and why would you place them there?
All right. I'm going to start from 3, Aston Martin, because I just don't feel like they're serious at all. Lance Stroll in that second seat is just ridiculous.
Boo-boo.
And it just shows like such a lack of like wanting to be competitive. And I can't, like, the car looks great. Alonso is ready to like sink his teeth in, get in there. And then you have Lance, who is barely able to keep up, which is just insane. I don't know what his deal was this season, because I do feel like he's marginally better than this season. I mean, like, marginally. He's had some, like, he has glimpses, right, of talent there. So I don't know what his deal was this season, but yeah, I think Lawrence keeping him in that seat just because it's his son is absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna put Ferrari P2. I just feel like strong driver pairing, well, Charles... strong driver pairing, the car is trash. I mean, the fact that they don't know what's going on with it, the strategy, the team strategies, like the race strategies, like you would just, what are we talking about? Plan N. The race just started, sir. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Carlos having to make his own strategies on the fly. Right. Like, you know, like they're just, it's a mess. True. But at least both drivers have some talent, you know, like you know, Carlos really kind of like rocked up this season. Mm-hmm. He's not my favorite driver by any stretch, but like I do appreciate that, you know, he's competitive. He knows what he wants. The team holds him back, and he's like, you know what? This time I'm gonna make my own shit. Yeah, I'm gonna make my own luck this season. So I feel like in that instance, and with Charles, I do feel like the first part of the season wasn't great. I mean, really, his whole season was lackluster, I think, but he still managed to kind of like pull out some glimpses of, you know, he's still in there, but that car is shit. The strategy of the team is shit. I can't believe he's signing on for a long-term contract.
Blows me.
But you know, it's his dream. You can't. What can you do? You know, he's fulfilling a dream. So yeah, and then I would put McLaren P1 because I do feel like as just an overall team, they have two strong drivers. Oscar, Rookie of the Year.
That's my dog.
You have Lando, who, you know, I think he's in the hunt for his first win. I do think that car is really strong. The development's really strong. The team looks like it's running like, you know, they seem like they're just on the right path. Like the pit stops, was it 1.8?
They got 1.8 in Qatar.
I can't even blink in 1.8 seconds. Like
for real, that's boom.
Like what? So I just feel like as a team, like they have done phenomenally well this season. The beginning of the season, I was definitely like, damn, sucks that, you know, that car is still shit from last year. Mm-hmm. Like I was fully prepared to dunk on them for having a shit season, but like the way that they turned it around, the morale seemed like it really like improved, and yeah, they just kind of did what they needed to do. And I feel like the giant step forward, the leap forward that they took this season just kind of put everybody on notice, you know, like it is possible even with the cost cap to make a giant step forward, make giant leap forward. So yeah, I think in terms of like overall, McLaren is probably the team to like look at like next season. Okay. I don't know if they're going to be like competing directly with Red Bull, but I do know that I think they're going to be it'll be like Mercedes, McLaren, probably Ferrari in the mix, all competing next year. So
okay, yeah, all right, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I probably would have switched.
Oh yeah.
I probably would have. You know what? No, I wouldn't have, because my same reason for Aston Martin is yours. I find it very egregious that Lawrence is putting his relationship with his son over the entire team. And to me, that is exactly what he's doing. There's I don't think that there's somebody else where you're going to see a car and you have a driver that has collected 8 podiums and you have a driver that has collected 0. Mm-hmm. And there's no way we can apply the Perez Red Bull effect here. Nobody's sabotaging Lance.
Coddled.
Right. Nobody. This is like, you're going to get everything, if not plus some. Right. You got an indefinite contract. So no, I agree with you on the 1, 2, 3. Ferrari like can't hold their shit together, and horrible strategies from A to fucking Z. And I don't even know sometimes if they even really got it. I think they just yell out letters trying to confuse people. Like, yeah, we got that many strategies. You ready for this shit? Like, I don't know. So, like, and McLaren definitely a large step forward. I do wonder if there was enough time in the season, you know, this hypothetical, if roles were reversed, because we saw Aston come on strong and then they tapered off. I do wonder if McLaren would have had the same effect, but we really won't know until next season, like you said, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. I hope they do make a strong step forward, but I am going to tell McLaren this straight up to your damn faces. If you're going to make a big step forward, Lando's going to have to get out of being a doorman for Max Verstappen. Yes. Can't keep just open the door, let good old Max through. He fights harder for second than he'll fight for first, even when he's in first. And to me, that's a problem. So that's where I see that. No, that's
facts. You can't do that. You can't be just like letting the man like stroll through like.
Yeah, no pun intended, Lance, but it's how it goes.
I mean, because, like, Oscar, when he won the sprint race or whatever, like, he was fighting with Max. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like there's friends, you can be friends off the track. On the track, you need to be trying to do whatever you can to like win a race, and especially Lando, who's, you know, for how many seasons now have we been waiting for his first win? And you in the part of the season where Red Bull's no longer developing the car, and you put your elbows out a little bit, you don't know what can happen. And I just feel like if you don't want to do that in a opportunity where you, like that presents itself, I say he's in the hunt because I do feel like there's going to be an opportunity. There's going to be a time where everything kind of aligns. I don't know if it's going to be of him just taking it or if it's just going to be a circumstance where he benefits from it. But he's just kind of always there, like in the, you know, P2, P3, like he's in the mix. But I just feel like if he is trying to fulfill this like prophecy that everybody has for him of like this future world champion driver, I don't personally see that, right? Like I just don't feel like, because there's people that he kind of like scoots to the side for that are going to be your biggest rival, like for the next however many years of your career. Like Max is not going anywhere. You know, unless he wants to, but like really he's not going anywhere. So it's like you either learn how to fight him on the track, you know, or like concede that you just probably never be a champion, even a race winner. And which one's worse? Like,
yeah, I'm definitely that's probably why I don't drive, probably because I'm definitely not. Max is definitely biting some wall. Like, because I'm going to tell you, that situation with him 100%. And Charles and Coda was egregious, the way he pushed Charles off track like, it was crazy. Like, Charles, if you don't stand up for yourself then, that looked bad on Charles. That looked bad. Like, that was horrible. Like, Charles, you just got punked fully 100% in front of everybody, and you said you wasn't going to take that type of shit from Max.
And it's the same thing. Like, how many opportunities have you had, Charles Leclerc, this season to, like, lead a race or, like, you know, to do anything. So it's like when an opportunity presents itself, why are you just letting Max bend you over? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like you said, listen, we crashing. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you just.
And I'll meet you in the pits after, if that's what you want to do. I'll see your ass in the pits too. See you when we get back to the paddock, bro. Straight up. Like, we can continue this there.
You got me backed up. Yeah.
For real.
I'm a fighter, not a lover at all.
If this is what you want every race, you're going to have to decide, like, next time, like, no, Jay, I'm not fucking with this dude.
Like, y'all are too soft. Y'all just letting this man run away with the season. Like, nobody's, like, first inclination was like, there's no way I'm letting this man get away with winning 19 of races of the year. Like,
yep. Get ready for that tow truck. Ready for that tow truck. I hope you got Geico. The motherfucker's coming back.
Crazy, right?
Coming back. So, Tasha, I really appreciate you coming through, a superhero co-host of Quick Stop F1 Saturday show. Big shout out to you. Listen,
for having me.
You know, I'm gonna have you again. I gotta have you again. Real conversation is real shit for me, so I enjoy it and love it. All right. Anything you want these people to know before we pop off?
Man, stay safe in these Twitter streets. Don't run up on me. Be careful. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
I want to wish everybody happy holidays. It's been a real cool season getting to meet everybody. Like, I got to meet you in Austin.
Facts. Good time.
Like, that was so fun. It was just like, the season's been so cool. This is my first year like as an F1 content creator, being on like Twitter, F1 Twitter. It's just been a whole fun experience of like meeting new people, and I don't know, just like everything about the season has been shit from the performance side, but like the community side has just like really held it down. So yeah, if you guys, you know, want to listen to a podcast with me on it, I am on there every Saturday with my co-host Mario. We usually break down like post-quali, but since, you know, we're in the off season, we just have some fun episodes coming up, just talking our shit. So yeah, and hopefully we'll have you on as well again, because I love when you were on.
Definitely, let me know.
We had a good time.
Let me know. We're gonna do that. So listen,
absolutely,
everybody, go hit that podcast, Quick Stop F1 5-star. Wolfpack Performance 5-star. You already know what's coming up. The F1 esports race is coming up real soon. If you're not in, you need to check in. Damn near $1,500 of sim racing equipment is what I'm giving away to the championship winner. It's going to be 10 races. It's going to be racing with some etiquette, but with some fuck you type mentalities as well. So if you're not up for that, you want to complain a lot. That's not just, don't come play with Jay, because Jay play, you know what I'm saying? I play rough.
Right.
So it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, hit that 5-star, visit the podcast. See y'all soon. We in the off season working. We gonna work until the end season comes, and we still gonna be popping off. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wolfpack Performance. Don't forget to check out some of my other content on Formula One and motorsports topics. Like, share, subscribe, and we go live on the weekends. See you soon.